Welcome to the #1 personal development podcast in Dubai, Explore Hayat. And I'm your host, Kashif Hayat. This show is all about bringing you inspiring conversations with thought leaders, innovators, and game changers from across the globe.
If things go wrong, if your business is not performing, it's not the government, it's not the environment, it's not the economy, it's you. If you do 21 days of gratitude, your life will change.
Yeah, I've been joked like that. Oh, you should speak in English. No, I'm speaking in English.
So everything was fantastic, and then something happened. Or the way we are spoken to, it literally changes our DNA expression. That period is characterized by natural disasters, catastrophes, wars. Does it remind you of anything?
Yeah.
Right? Like planes crashing and fires. Who works the most on the farm is the horse. But the horse will still never become head of the farm. We're human beings, we're not human doings.
Yeah.
But we are assessing ourselves, we're praising ourselves by what we are doing, actually. If something disturbs you in other people, this is something you're not accepting in yourself.
Today's guest is truly remarkable. She is a holistic life and business strategist, advisor, and founder of Spiritual Corporation. With over 2 decades of executive experience in finance, she worked at largest investment funds and banks, engaged with CEOs of leading corporations, and launched a corporate governance startup. Through her personal experience of going through burnout and bringing up a child as a female senior executive with a chronic illness, she gained experience in many areas of personal development and is keen to share this knowledge and helpful tools with leaders and corporations. She realized that a paradigm shift is required in the corporate world that helps to elevate consciousness of leaders and build happiness and well-being into holistic corporate strategies. She collaborates with leading anthropologists, neuroscientists, people and culture experts, and integrative medicine doctors to bring science behind ancient practices and philosophies, which can be highly effective against the stressors of modern life. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this episode with your friends and family to help spread these insightful conversations. Now, I'm excited to welcome Marina Davies to the show. Marina, you had an impressive corporate career. So what actually sparked that shift which came from corporate world to a spiritual path?
Well, I was always a spiritual person. I was always thinking about who am I, why I'm here, what I'm intended to do in this world. But what really sparked it was my burnout story. I had a little child during COVID. Obviously, a lot of stress, remote working, handling the child, the supplies of food. There was a point when food was not so easy to get in the supermarkets in London. Right. Then the crisis on the market associated with the COVID. Obviously, I had to work many hours, long hours. And then we had to go back to the office, commute, all the nannies. I had long COVID symptoms. I had an autoimmune disorder. I developed an autoimmune disorder from stress. And I was trying to manage all those things. And I realized, it's really hard. And I was trying to keep going. I faced all the beauties of the corporate world women are facing, the glass ceilings, the micromanagement, the lack of understanding, when I'm pregnant, when I'm, unwell and all that. And then in the end of it, I just realized, I can't do it anymore.
Right.
So I had to leave my brilliant career And many people might think that, healing from the burnout is happening like once you left a job, you're out. No,
it's not.
It's still taking place. I'm still in healing from the burnout. And for a long time, I was trying to understand what is wrong with me, why I'm feeling weak, why I'm not, why I can't get out of bed in the morning. I was going from doctor to doctor. I was trying different ways. I was trying different vitamins, different supplements, different doctors, different tests, and I couldn't get there. And then what really got me there was Reiki. When I started doing it in Japanese energy healing modality. And essentially how it works is that you focus directly on your internal resource, on your energy. So you don't feed your energy by vitamins or food or exercise, but you're just working directly on increasing your energy and directing your energy in the right direction. And I was just fascinated. I was amazed by what was possible. And I got better. And then I went to my doctor, who was the leading pulmonologist in the UK. And I said to him, you know what? You will think I'm crazy, but I think energy healing makes me better with my long COVID. I said, you know what? I'm not surprised. Because actually, when you cannot breathe, it's not like your lungs cannot breathe. It's your brain actually thinks that you cannot breathe. So you can actually heal yourself with those things. I'm like, really? You are telling me this? You're like a proper doctor and stuff? And then I started doing a lot of research and trying to understand, how it works, why it works. And since then, my life was never the same because I was perceiving things completely differently. So when I was going through acupuncture or massage or, herbal therapy or some homeopathy, I was asking them, what are you doing? How does it work? And then they started telling me about these meridians and energy. And I was fascinated how much there is outside of the physical world, which we don't know and don't think about, and how much our mind, body, spirit are connected. What if the corporations were more spiritual? What if we knew those things? What if 5 years ago, when I didn't know how to get myself better, I couldn't get out of bed, I was sick. If somebody came to me and said, listen, there are a few simple tools which would help you to get better. And this is how they work. And this is why you should use them. I would feel completely different. I would just immediately start using those tools. But this information was not really available to me. It was not, it only came to me when I started searching. And so I started thinking, why don't I start telling people who are like me 5 years ago how to get themselves better. And the more I was studying energy, the more I was studying the brain, I was realizing there are so many things we can do for our companies, for our employees, which would really make us feel much better very quickly, and which will allow us to resolve difficult problems really in an easy way.
Yep. So your burnout, basically, it opened up and it gave you the vision, bringing spirituality into businesses. So have you already done this, like your spirituality vision? Could you bring it to the business? Because corporates are not easy to accept when you talk about the spiritual part of it. So how did it go?
Yes, exactly. So at the time we are in a testing stage, let's put it this way. So we tested on a few smaller companies which we knew, and actually people were quite amazed. For example, one company I presented with a concept of egregor.
Okay.
So what is an egregor? Egregor is a collective field of consciousness. So, for example, COVID was an egregor.
Yeah.
War is an egregor. Dubai is an egregor. London is an egregor. So when we interact with those collective fields of consciousness, we feel a certain way. So Dubai is different from Rome.
Right.
Rome is different from London. They have different history, different heritage, different vibe. And for example, when we are reading a lot of news about the war or about COVID, we we are feeling this a certain way. We're feeling the fear. We're feeling the frustration. And when we connect to positive egregors, then obviously, I don't know, Olympic Games.
Right.
Then we can feel completely different. We feel happy. We feel cheerful, hopeful. So every company is also an egregor. It's also a collective field of consciousness. And essentially, our employees are in this field of consciousness.
Right.
And our customers are actually interacting with this collective field of consciousness. And if you interact with a positive egregor, your customer retention actually doubles.
Right.
So there is research which shows that a positive corporate culture is doubling customer retention.
Right.
And is increasing profitability by 25%. So this is how a spiritual concept can benefit a corporation, just the understanding that the company is a field of consciousness, is creating a certain vibration. It has a soul, which is the company vision. And how many companies do not have any vision at all, or do not understand the vision, or maybe it's produced by the marketing team and people don't even know. They're saying, oh, it's somewhere on the website. They don't even remember. So how can they connect? And then a healthy company is functioning like a human body, like an organism, right? So the cells of the organism, they trust, they support each other, they collaborate, and every cell knows their place. The brain cells know their brain cells, the lung cells know their lung cells, and the blood cells know that they are blood cells. So every cell is having its function. And when there is one toxic cell, it can actually contaminate the whole body. So I think if you start thinking that way about your company, it is highly beneficial, right? It's quite groundbreaking. So that went very well. People were really amazed. They was thinking, we never thought about it this way, but really, it puts things into perspective.
Yeah. It's a very good analogy to bring it like a human body and the cell, like how the brain functions and how the human body cells, they are all working in coordination and support each other. And once one of the cells is in problem, it affects others as well. And considering the same concept in the corporates, probably it's very easy to a certain level. But once we talk about the leaders, the CEOs, the top guys, those who are already under pressure of taking work and making things happen, achieving the targets and all, how much do you think they're willing or ready in today's society to get into the spirituality and bring the spirituality in the business, in the corporations?
Well, this is a good question to ask. I mean, a lot of big leaders are actually spiritual. If you look at Mark Benioff, for example, Salesforce founder. If you look at Ray Dalio recently gave an interview and he was saying that he owes all his wealth to transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
So his spiritual practice. So a lot of actually well-known business leaders are doing spiritual practice. And for example, Tony Robbins, he sent all his guys to do transcendental meditation. Just not many people know about that. Then we know there is a company, Search Inside Yourself. How many people know about this company? This company actually went out of the woods just recently. Everything was relatively quiet. They did a corporate program for Google. And it is a pure esoteric program. If you look at their website, there are free guided meditations there. So you can grasp the idea. And they were a non-profit before. Now they also opened a profit arm. How we are different, we're not just doing, the spiritual work. We're not just doing the meditations or the yoga or the breathing. But I'm a strategist. I'm a corporate person of 20 years. I reviewed so many strategies of multi-billion corporations and interacted at the board level. And so I can see how the corporate strategy should change. This is why I'm bringing this well-being and this spirituality in the company DNA. We feel that it has to be introduced into the company DNA. It has to become part of the company identity. So it has to, the vision, the strategy, the leadership, and the people, the well-being of the people, it has to all come together in a culture. And we call it high vibration culture. So this is when you enter a bar and you feel really good, or you enter some very beautiful, say, restaurant, and you have a very nice atmosphere there. And you're saying, oh, that has a positive, very good vibe. The same has to be felt by the employees when they enter the office.
Right.
They need to feel happy.
Before we getting into the corporate side of it, to bring this spiritual culture in the corporate, each individual first has to understand the importance of spirituality. Until each individual understand that, it's going to be just a shape or just one of the compliance program of the corporate, but still people that do not believe in it much. So is it going to work until each individual is believing in it?
I think the most important that it has to start with the leadership team. It, like, well-being has to be considered at the board level. At the moment, it's an HR problem.
Okay.
People do not trust HR.
No.
In most cases, they think HR is working for the business, or they don't take it serious. But when it comes from the CEO office, and to be honest, we figure out that very often the problem is in the CEO office. It's actually starting there. So the most important thing is that the founders, the CEOs, understand that the paradigm shift needs to happen. Otherwise, people will burn out.
Right.
There is a good book, Culture is Strategy for Breakfast, yeah? So no strategy can be implemented if there's no culture. Mm-hmm. So when the CEO understands that the paradigm shift needs to happen, that they need to understand themselves, they need to understand the others, they need to be connected to the universe better, then of course they can translate this to the employees. So if the leadership team is not on board, I don't think anything can work. Whether everybody has to understand first, well, probably this is not possible. But I think that every leader has to be a coach in the first place. All the transformation starts from within. This is definitely the case. So looking inside yourself and properly connecting with yourself, and then from that place already understanding what do you want, where do you want to be, what do you want to do, and how you want to interact with the other people. And would you do, for example, this to yourself, then you do it to them. If you don't want these things to happen to yourself, you don't do it to the others. That way of thinking, once it becomes the identity of the leadership team, then they can translate it to the whole body, to the whole company.
Right. Earlier you talked about the trust factor between the employees and the employer, the CEO, the top management, and the middle management or the line management. So this trust is not already built in most of the corporates, And then in order for a CEO to come up with another idea, sometimes it's not taken the way maybe he wants to bring in. It's also considered to be one of the policy of the company. Okay, just take the courses, just do it, and it's done. So for spirituality, for example, the essence is it's not only related to your brain, but it's more related to your heart. And for the people to get connected with the heart. So do you believe that, once again, my question going back to the same one, that people, they have to elevate themselves spiritually? Okay, let's say first, train the trainer. So the coach and the CEOs, or the CEOs and the directors first, they have to become spiritual to bring this spirituality down to this level. But again, once they understand these things and they try to bring those spirituality amongst their team, so it's a hell lot of work. It's mammoth job for them probably. Or they first have to hire teams like you and other coaches to come and elevate their teams first. So probably they're going side by side. But if they are not ready to accept it, and they're ready to give, but they're not ready, it's not going to work. So how would you find the best solution for that they accept it and they deliver?
I think definitely changing the mindset of leaders is the number one priority. And then, of course, they don't have to necessarily do the keynote speaking themselves to their staff. They definitely will translate the new energy, the new positive energy, the active leadership, the caring, be it the empathy. So that will already be life-changing once they change. But in terms of educating the staff, definitely guys like us can help with keynote speaking, with workshops. And I think the main thing about us is that we bring the why. Because for me, when I got my burnout, the why was missing. Like, my company was very good. They were organizing yoga workshops, mindfulness workshops. I was going to them. The management was not going.
Yeah.
The leadership was not going. I was going, and I felt silly because there were assistants and there were HR. The business people found it strange to attend. And then obviously you have this program, I don't know, close your eyes, feel the back of your chair, feel the bottom of your chair. And everybody found it silly. Like, we were like, why are we supposed to be doing these things? So when I found and understood for myself why I have to do it, it just became so much easier for me to explain to others. Because, when you know that, for example, gratitude changes your blood chemistry, your brain chemistry. If you do 21 days of gratitude, your life will change. When I moved to Dubai, I couldn't accept that I left London, that I can't live in my house. It was a tough time for me. I knew it's a good place, but I couldn't connect. And I said to myself, okay, I will just do the gratitude practice. And I did 21 days. On day 21, everything, the green was green and the sky was blue and everything was fine, and I found my favorite beach. And I started loving it, So, when you know how exactly what you do, what you eat, how you eat, what you listen to, how you interact with people, how it affects your life, your well-being, your blood tests, then there is already a lot more motivation to do these things. You know why you're going to your yoga session. You know why you are doing your meditation. You know why you're relaxing yourself. You know why you're doing your maybe reframing, your positive thoughts. And essentially, the way now epigenetics already tells us, and I know you're very interested in the subject.
Yeah, I do actually.
Epigenetics tells us the way we speak to people or the way we are spoken to, it literally changes our DNA expression.
Yeah.
If you know that, and how we speak to ourselves in the first place, that changes our DNA expression. And then, are we going to speak to our employee in a bad way if we know that, for example, incivilities are going to cost us money? They're going to change the DNA expression. They're going to change the physical well-being. It will increase absenteeism. And we are going to pay their sick leave. And we are going to cover up for them when they don't show up or when they're sitting in the office but not doing anything because they can't focus, because they're stressed out, they're upset. So I think this kind of deeper thinking, when you know exactly when you micromanage people, how it makes them feel and how their productivity goes down, and when you encourage them and support them, how their productivity will improve and their happiness level, I think already that can be quite helpful. What do you think?
I think it does. It does help, definitely. The point is, how I see, sometimes management, they do understand spirituality. They want to bring it to the corporate, but at the same time, things are taken for granted because we are still living in a capitalist society. So capitalism asks you for value for the time and money, everything. We have to think about that. And once the result is not coming, the management, no matter how empathetic they are, so they try to use another ways. They try to pressurize their employees. Sometimes empathy doesn't work on them. In this scenario, what a management should do. So I would say, what is practical spirituality? If we talk about, you talked about Tony Robbins, okay, fine, his team is doing, because he himself is already into spirituality, or some of the people, those who were in corporates and then eventually they left the corporate, they got 100% into spirituality. They are now preaching spirituality. But people, those who are still working as a CEOs and the top leaders, and they're trying to achieve the goals, the targets, what they have, and they're trying to be empathetic, but they're seeing the results not coming. So how practically they could be spiritual in this situation?
Yeah, so this is exactly what I'm about, the practicality of spirituality, the why is it beneficial? Because spirituality is always seen like something, something woo, like something we shouldn't be talking about, right? But essentially, what is spirituality? Everything outside of the physical world is spiritual, right? So it is our values, it is our purpose, it is our feelings. This is all part of our spiritual world. So I think the number one thing to consider is the values and purpose. And we spoke a little bit about it already, how much values and purpose are important, right? People are not anymore motivated by the money alone, right? People want to have something bigger. And the something bigger is most likely missing in most companies, right? So what is happening? I was talking to a friend, and a friend was saying, who works the most on the farm is the horse. But the horse will still never become head of the farm.
Right.
And that kind of sparked my imagination. And I was thinking, the society is evolving. The human brain, the human consciousness is evolving. We need something else. And so the horse is waking up. And maybe they've gone crazy. They think they're unicorns. Or maybe they're really turning into unicorns. In any case, the head of the farm has a problem. Unless he has a plan. Right? So if he comes to unicorns and says, okay, good morning, let's go and plant potatoes. They're going to say, we're unicorns, we're not doing that, right? If you're coming to them and say, okay, let's plant magic apples, they will dig the same field, but they will be happy. So to start with, you need to have a bigger vision. Right. And it doesn't necessarily cost you much, right? You just need to think, what's beyond? Like, what's beyond this for me? And it will make you yourself, as a founder, as a CEO, as a leader, feel better. Why am I doing it? I'm carving this stone just because I'm carving this stone, or I'm carving this stone to feed my family, or I'm building a temple for my gods. Of course, it's nicer to build a temple for your gods. So, this kind of consciousness uplift, like already the energy changed. Like when I'm saying this,
yes,
about
absolutely.
the temple, immediately like the energy in the room has changed, because you have a bigger goal. You're worthwhile, you're connected with something bigger. Everybody wants to be connected with something bigger. And actually, in the McKinsey report, most people don't know that McKinsey issued a report on spirituality in May 2024. And they were saying that the people are in search of something bigger. And actually, the human being has inherently been in search for something bigger, and for the meaning and for the purpose and why we're here. So why did we forget about this need of a human being to be connected with a bigger purpose? And then when we have this big purpose, this big vision, then it's quite easier to build a strategy, to build a proper corporate strategy, because we're thinking, okay, what kind of legacy we're building? What are we going to leave behind? And actually, Elon Musk, as far as I know, he builds his companies like this. What are we going to leave behind? What is going to be in 100 years, 200 years, like when I'm not there, right? And there was an amazing movie, Beyond Zero, about a carpet, like a company which was making carpet tiles. And then they went on a sustainability journey. And they got so connected to the sustainability journey that when when the staff was underpaid, not promoted, they didn't leave. They stayed. And then when the founder, when the main guy dies of cancer, they continued. Nobody left. They continued his mission. They continued because they believed in it. They were part of it. The staff retention and attracting the better quality staff is directly correlating with what our vision, our strategy is.
Right.
And the quality of leadership.
Yep.
And only then we can introduce our well-being programs, because then people will understand what it's all about. Why do we need to do these things?
This is a materialistic society we are living in.
Yeah.
All the corporates, they are working in this capitalist society, working for the money, ultimately.
Yeah.
So let's make it easy. So then what is the bigger purpose for them in a corporate, if not money?
Well, for each company, there is a different bigger purpose.
Okay.
And that is exactly what the founder and the CEO have to develop. They really need to understand what is exactly the purpose for this particular organization.
We talk about business organization, let's say, business corporation.
Yes, and then there might be people who do not share these values, this purpose. And I think it's very important to let those go. Because very often the leaders are afraid to let people go. They're thinking, how are they going to feed their families or whatever? But they're limiting the people's potential, because if the person is in the wrong place, his potential is definitely limited. He's going to feel miserable. While when you let those people go and bring the people who share your vision and your purpose and your values, they're going to fit into the culture. They're going to be adding up to the common goals. And the other people, they will find their way. They will find their destiny. Maybe this person is not supposed to be sitting on reception. Maybe she's supposed to open a flower shop. Maybe she will enjoy it a lot better. Maybe she will make 10 times more money. We don't know. So I think it's a little bit like taking, the role of God by keeping the wrong people in the wrong places. I don't think leaders should be doing it, to be honest.
I'm still thinking about if it's a business organization. The business organization's purpose is how to maximize the profit for the shareholders, for the stakeholders. And the money becomes the main goal, the main purpose. Under this scenario, so they always talk about how to generate more income for the corporate, for their stakeholders, so that they can get the bigger bonuses, they can make more money. And their employees, they also think in the same way. And their all focus is money. The central point is the money, And then when we talk about spirituality, even that is focused towards, if you are relaxed and if you are thinking about each other, probably you can produce the better results. But eventually, what better results they are talking about is again same. If he's performing well, his job is well, it is bringing more money to the corporate somehow, directly or indirectly. So I wanted to know, when we say business organization, so the purpose is different. When we talk about, for example, Explore Hayat, today we have got a different purpose. Our purpose is very clear. It's not about money. It's about bringing the message to the society. It's about bringing the guests like you who can share their experiences, who can share about their knowledge to bring a positive change in the society, So they should take away something from here. So my purpose is this. So money is probably secondary. Okay, if it is monetized, very happy. Some money is coming, but that's not the main purpose. But if this channel is formed based on how much money can we make with this channel, so probably my main focus point will be money, So lots of larger corporations, if you see, even though they talk about, what is my societal responsibility? What is my employee's responsibility? Let's bring it as a part of compliance. We have to do that. But eventually, the focus point is, again, how to maximize profit. So where do you fit in the spirituality in this scenario?
Absolutely. Yes, I think the most important thing here is to think long term.
Yeah, long term.
So I am a strategist.
Yeah.
I think long term. And I think if you don't think long term, then of course, short term, there can be a gain, but there will be a long-term pain. So it's about thinking strategically where we're heading. And if you look at the numbers, we can see that 38% of people are experiencing some sort of signs of burnout. And if we extrapolate this trend with all the modern stresses, environmental issues, the information overload, we can see that in the next decade, according to our research, 50% of employees will end up in burnout. And burnout can be very well silent burnout when the employees are showing up, but they're not focused, they're not present, they're not doing much. Or they are, for example, there is a human factor, they're missing mistakes, especially in the finance sector, if you do the wrong trade because you cannot focus.
Yeah.
You're missing opportunities. Then when you are in stress, in a situation of stress, you have less appetite for innovation. You have tunnel vision. So you really don't see the things around because you're so stressed. And this is why it's going to cost companies money in the long term. Yes, in the short term, they will make maybe more money or they will save money on the well-being programs. In the long term, they're going to lose out. And we know that there are, the statistics on the well-being programs is changing every day. When I started, they were talking about $1 invested in well-being programs brings $3. Now it's already $5, and according to some research, it's already $7. But at the same time, a lot of those corporate well-being programs are not working at all. And why they're not working at all? Because if you gave them a yoga session and paid them a gym or a chair massage or whatever, but then they're coming into a toxic workplace, it will not benefit.
Right.
So we need to think strategically about it. We need to be changing all the elements.
Why 38% sign of burnout is there? Why people they get burnout if we just go in this way? Maybe 3 reasons.
Well, definitely stress. Stress is increasing, right? The levels of stress are increasing. And there are a lot of reasons. There are geomagnetic reasons, right? The nature, the climate change. Then there is a toxicity, environmental toxicity, right? The food is significantly changing from what we were used to. A lot more junk food, a lot more sugar, a lot more additives than the sedentary lifestyle, right? And I think a big one is an information overload. This is massive. And that went up significantly, dramatically after COVID and with AI. So now, of course, when we are getting into the new technological era, we're going through a growth spurt, essentially. Like, when your children are going through developmental leaps. So the child is getting cranky. The child is getting cranky. He doesn't know, he's screaming. He doesn't want to sleep. He doesn't want to eat. And then a few days later, falls asleep, wakes up, learned a new trick, learned a new word, or learned to stand up or to crawl. Something happened, right? So this developmental leap is bound to happen with the society, with all the people. It's just every person is having it at their own time. I had it earlier than others. But people are starting to feel dizzy, starting to feel weird because, in the past, we send a letter, whatever, by carriage somewhere, I don't know, from one city to another, it arrives in a week. So you have news like once a week or once a month. And now you have like 50,000 news every day. Right? You're bombarded by this. Like 360 people got COVID or whatever. There is a war here, war there. So many people die, so many babies and whatever. A crash on the market, the interest rates and the cost of living and whatever else. Right? So when you're trying maybe not to follow the whole thing, but you have to follow something. And how do my finance colleagues, how do they start the morning? Right? Checking the cell phone. If you know anything about the human brain, you know what it does with the brain. But also what it does with your psyche. Like you wake up and you see stressful news, first thing in the morning when you're still in the state of relaxation. Like essentially you're supposed to be connecting with yourself, doing your meditation, your body scan, your breathing exercises, going in the sunlight, waking up your hormones, right? And we're looking at the mobile phones and scrolling the news. So what is going to happen? Of course, there's this, there are certain hiccups in our development. We cannot be the same if our news flow increased so many times.
Right. You talked about information overload. We are talking about lifestyle. People, they get burnout, lack of attention, focus span is being reduced. News, picking up mobile, lots of things is going on in life. And all those things, people, they carry with them to their office. Now, while they are working, I'm bringing a practical example for you. The mobile is in there, lots of distraction. They are not much focused on what they want to do, the assignment, the task, and they're being distracted a lot of time. And then good news or a bad news, it is changing their situation, their thinking, their state of being. And then the mood is changing. The way they were doing their work is not the same. So this is a lifestyle, probably what I'm trying to say is, which people they bring to their office, to their workplace, which is taking them to burnout more than the work itself. What if they do not do all of those things and they are aligned with the strategy or the vision of a corporate, and they're focused on what they're supposed to do or they're supposed to be doing? So where the spirituality in it is just the understanding of the idea aligned with the corporate's vision and just being sincere and honest with your work, what you're doing. Would it not work? Would it not be enough? How do you say about this?
There is a lot of spirituality in what you're saying.
Indeed.
Like the integrity, the responsibility.
Self-responsibility.
Self-control.
Self-control.
This is all
Indeed.
part of it. And, essentially our life, like our capacity to have a certain life, a certain business and certain relationships is all a function of our nervous system.
Yeah.
And the state of our nervous system is significantly impacted by our lifestyle and can be significantly improved by certain practices, including yoga, meditation, relaxation, be that sound healing, be that acupuncture, because those things activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is bringing us into the state of relaxation. Why are we so stressed out? Is because we function on our sympathetic nervous system, which is fight, flight, freeze. This is actually intended to protect us from a tiger, right? You know it very well. But in the current normal, it is permanently activated. And the human being cannot function this way. Like we cannot sit for 8 hours straight on 9, 10 hours, how people are sitting, right? We need to stretch. We need to relax. We need to disengage. We need to connect with ourselves. And we don't have necessarily the place and the setting for it.
Yep.
And only once it becomes acceptable, socially acceptable to go in a room, why there is a room, there is maybe some videos or some sound available to you, or just a place to breathe, just a place to stretch. And it becomes socially acceptable to retreat and spend 15 minutes. Then it is a lot easier for you to give your best version to your employer. Right? So there is a lot of spirituality in this, in the awareness that the foundation of the practical spirituality is the understanding that you are the one. You are the reason if something goes wrong. So to take the responsibility and say, okay, I can change it. I can change it as a leader.
Yep.
My employees are receiving 2,000 emails a day. I will hire someone and sort their mailboxes. You're not waiting for these guys to come and ask you you're just asking them, what is bugging you? The emails. Okay, I'm going to sort out your mailbox. I'm going to get it organized, right? I'm going to get you a room and you can breathe. It is good for you because it changes your blood chemistry. Or I will explain to you why you should eat more vegetables. And then it's up to you. Or the employee is taking the responsibility on himself and saying, okay, I'm addicted to my cell phone. Or I'm not in the right place. I shouldn't be having this job because actually I don't want to do research, I want to do sales. So it's about every being taking the responsibility for himself and what he does, and understanding that if things go wrong, if your business is not performing, it's not the government, it's not the environment, it's not the economy, it's you. And it's not your people, it's you. You need to change.
So first, every individual has to understand this thing, that this is my own lifestyle, this is my own life. How do I want to navigate it through? It's up to me. So if normal people or employees or just the general public, they start to realize this point, I think the overall environment will start to change much faster. And I do understand when you talk about the leadership part, the leaders first, they should understand, they should be more practicing, and then they should create an environment where they are practicing this practical spirituality in their corporates. And at the same time, the programs should be much more extensive. The spiritual retreats should be done probably not just a well-being program, just another kind of formal activity which employees, they feel we have to do it because it has been imposed on us. So if such programs are also done from the point of view, even by the management, by saying that, okay, we are bringing our team for 5 days retreat and Tony Robbins is coming and he's going to guide you guys how to elevate yourself spiritually in your life, how not to get distracted with the phone calls when you receive all the time, why not to pick up the phone once you wake up first thing in the morning, why not to get panicked when you receive so many emails. And then I'm also going to support you as a CEO of the company. It's fine. Let's use technology. Let's use AI to make your job easier because I'm empathetic. And creating the overall, the holistic approach and the environment to create from both sides, employees and the employer, the CEOs and the mid-management and the line management and the staff. And it is taken, as you, I like the idea when you said it should be long-term. It cannot be done in a short-term basis or, okay, one training, once we do a training for, let's say, for 1 month or then forgot for the 11 months. So it has to be an ongoing program for them because we need to transform people first. If the CEOs, they understand with your program and then they apply on themselves and then they themselves start to understand how important it is, spirituality in their lives, and how important it is for them to be empathetic, to bring their employees to the level where we as the leaders do not activate their sympathetic nervous system so that they're always in the fight or flight state, so then they would not be able to perform to their maximum. So have your say on this. Like, is it like a whole, ecosystem kind of a thing?
Consciousness shift, and actually consciousness shift is enough to happen once.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Spiritual awakening is a minute. I was searching for something, and then I woke up and I just realized, okay, I'm not my body. I'm a spiritual being, and I can work with my spiritual self, and then it's going to change my entire life, So this understanding that we're not just bodies, and it's not just about the material world, it's already, and this is what distinguishes the human being, that the human being can understand those things, right? And doesn't only, eat, sleep, and work, but can do other things, right? That is already a big shift. So for that, 1 hour, 2 hours is enough, right? I have people who did like a simple meditation, man on the mountain, on their MBA course and completely changed their lives. Like they left their top executive positions and started, I don't know, running marathons or whatever, like started something completely different. So that 1-2 hours of just consciousness shift and just explaining that there is more to it. And of course, some people will take it and some people will not take it. But the people who are ready to take it, it's enough. So this is like stage 1 is that. And then, of course, there is a process, right? There is a transformational process because there has to be a visionary upgrade. There has to be a strategy change. It has to go into all these processes. It has to go to the middle management. It has to go in the staff programs, and it has to be maintained, of course. But I think the consciousness shift is a number 1 priority. And then what I also wanted to say about it, you were saying like material, spiritual, there is I'm by no means a Vedic astrologist, but there is a term in Vedic astrology, Kali Yuga. This is the current period we're going through. It's one of 4 yugas. I think the worst one. And that period is characterized by natural disasters, catastrophes, wars. Does it remind you of anything? Yeah. Right? Like planes crashing and like, I don't know, fires, wars, conflicts, stress. And what gave me a very big hint in terms of this concept, the spiritual corporation, is that Kali Yuga is characterized by one feature. Material takes over spiritual. Right? And this is a lot more profound in the West and Western corporations. And it does exist in emerging markets, but in the kind of westernized sort of corporation. But if you go somewhere, if you go to India, or if you go to, I don't know, go to Bali, and you will see they're investing all their wealth in a temple. They have such a house and such a temple. Like you can figure out who is the richest family in the village by the biggest temple. They're thinking about the afterlife. They're thinking about the legacy. So not all the people are thinking like us. But we here in the Western world, not necessarily we're sitting now in the Middle East, but still it's a westernized society, if you will. There are a lot of Western corporations. And that, that idea that we need to make money and that's the most important thing, and that our self-worth is measured by our success, by our corporate title, by our salary and bonus. This has become too much. And when we are attached to all those outcomes, to tangible outcomes, not to just being, somebody said, we're human beings, we're not human doings. Yeah. But we are assessing ourselves, we're praising ourselves by what we are doing, actually. And so all this doing thing is causing this disconnection from the source, and essentially lack of energy and burnout.
Right. So true. We are going deeper. We are going serious. So on a lighter mode, I'm going to change the mood, and I'm going to ask you a riddle.
Okay.
It's very simple. I know you can answer that. What has to be broken before you can use it?
Oh my God. I don't know.
Think about it. There is some spirit in it.
Heart?
No.
Which is going could be true, no?
You are going to break the heart before you use it. No. You can't do that. No. That's not spiritual.
Well, it might be true to an extent, because normally spiritual awakening follows.
Yeah. Breaking
heartbreak.
The heart. Yeah, heartbreak. That's a good, that's the way we can see as well. But no, that's not the answer.
I don't know. I give up.
Okay, I make it easy for you. So this is an egg.
Right.
Right? Makes sense to you?
I thought of an egg first. I thought of an egg straight away, but then I thought it's going to leak out.
I see. All right. Wonderful. So it's good. Now we are more relaxed, and because this is what we need to relax. So once we are more relaxed, so we are more creative. So once we are more creative, we can go deeper. We can ask more questions to you. So you advocate for a healing approach. Now, how does it differ from typical corporate wellness programs?
So the difference about healing from a sort of symptomatic treatment is that you look in the root cause.
Okay.
And there is a process being used for this. So there are a few questions you need to ask yourself.
Yeah.
When did it start? When did things change? Everything was fantastic, and then something happened. When did it happen? And what happened at the same time?
Would you share any experience, personal or somebody you saw it happen, this change shift came? When did it happen for you? As you mentioned, then you had a burnout because of the corporate life you had, and then the COVID happened. So if you could go a little bit deeper and explain about that situation, probably that would be the best example for the audience to understand.
Very personal.
You see, this is Explore Hayat. Hayat means life. Do you know that, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, you know Hayat. Of course, you live in Dubai. So
No,
you know.
I watched the podcast.
Oh, you watch the podcast. So the thing is that, so we are exploring your Hayat today.
Right. For example, when I was thinking, when did I start feeling weaker physically? Yeah. I was searching for many different reasons. But then when I used this healing approach, I wrote down everything what happened simultaneously. And I was always thinking it might have been a relationship breakup. But then I realized I moved countries at the same time. And then already I was so searching, and I understood, okay, I moved from a country from Russia, where the archetype is completely different,
Right.
to the UK. And the archetypes do not change. So I was fitting in. I was literally walking on my head, trying to fit in. But to walk on the head is not really comfortable, Like I was trying to change myself. And then I realized, okay, let me just try to be myself and see whether that could be accepted. And that's quite transformational already, to understand, can I actually be who I am? Or maybe I'm not accepted here, but maybe there is another place next door where that would work, where that would be okay. Maybe everybody's like that. Or maybe they understand how that works, Because for an expat, like you probably know no less than me how it is when you speak the language which is not your native language 24/7.
Yeah.
You write in this language, you speak in this language. It's a lot of mental load actually on the background.
Indeed.
Which people do not really understand how difficult it is for expats. The good thing for international corporations, they kind of adjust the language, and they get used to different cultures, but still the magnitude of what we're going through, what is the pressure on our nervous system, constantly thinking, are they not understanding me because of my culture, because of my accent, because I don't fit in, because I'm not saying it correctly? You always think about it.
Yeah, that's very good thing which you mentioned, that once you decided being yourself, it helped you.
Yes.
So how did you feel in that state when you started to feel being yourself? No need to fit into any society or a culture, or just to prove yourself that I'm like you, and that they're not ready to accept you. Then you say, okay, this is the way I am. For me, for example, it happened. English is not my first language, but we still try to speak. Maybe we don't have the best accent. Maybe we don't have the best vocabulary. Maybe we do not have the best expressions. But again, that's not our first language. And we are communicating in English. I used to face this issue when I used to live in the Western world. And sometimes I would hear this from them. Oh, this word is not said like that. What are you saying? Yeah, I've been joked like that. Oh, you should speak in English. No, I'm speaking in English. And then I changed myself. And when I started speaking English, like a normal English, I used to say, if you don't understand my English, speak in my language from now on. Only then I'll explain you in my language.
Yeah, I tried that as well, actually. That's
and then they understood my English.
That works quite well, actually.
Right? So the only thing is, the time you become what you are and you know that that's not my first language, that is not my first culture, but I'm still trying to connect with you on a human level because I don't keep any biases. I don't keep any racism. We are all same at the core level. I feel this way and I want you to feel the same way. Then people start to get connected with you more. The time when we try to keep fitting into someone, that's not the right approach probably. And that's exactly what you did. And the time when you reach to that state, and then the whole new world opened for you. So you felt the best at that time?
Well, I think it's like a lifetime journey.
Yeah.
To really, really honestly and sincerely accept yourself.
Right.
And learn to be how you are and, be happy with that. I think it's a life journey, to be honest. I don't think I'm there yet, to be honest. But definitely that understanding was quite crucial for me.
Right. But you overcame it. Still, even you're on the journey, we all are. We are all improving every day.
I mean, what I'm doing now, you know how much stigma I had to go through. It's unbelievable, and I'm still continuing. This is why I'm so thankful to everybody, including your good self, who supported and who believed in me and who reached out and said, you're doing a good thing, go ahead, keep going, we're reading, we're listening, because first and foremost, like, why don't you get a proper job? Right? This is a paradigm in the society. The 9 to 6 or 8 to 7, more likely, or more, is a proper job. Like, get a proper job. Get a proper job. And I was feeling guilty, even though my parents, for example, they never had a proper job. They were scientists. They always worked like half day and didn't work in summer and whatever. So we had amazing, childhood with parents around. And still, I managed to develop this stigma that a proper job is like office job from morning till night. And this is proper and everything else is not proper.
Yeah, other things are improper.
Yeah, exactly. And then, spiritual. Oh, you're going to be doing a spiritual thing? Are you sure? Like, maybe you should get a proper job,
True.
Maybe you should do a fintech, like, we would really support you if you did a fintech, but I don't want to do a fintech.
No. Yeah.
Because, like, when I'm like 90 years old, I'm not, if I am ever reaching this, what am I gonna be thinking about? Like, okay, I launched an amazing fintech. Is it gonna be my, maybe for someone it would be, maybe this transformational fintech, but do I feel like that? No, I personally don't. And I don't know, like, someone really enjoys building software because they think that it is life-changing. Right? And then for them is the right thing to do. But for me, I feel this way I get more leverage, like I can change more lives.
Right. I agree.
And why, for example, why I'm not doing, I don't know, like some mothers in the moms group, they're saying, do the healing to us.
Yeah.
And I will, but more like a helping, more like a charity thing. But why do I want to do it to senior executives? Is because this is leveraging me, because they can then affect many people, right? Because the traumatized leaders, they're hurting a lot of people, unfortunately. And happy leaders, they're enlightening, they're inspiring a lot of people. So it's a big difference. And this is why, for example, I like working with leadership team.
So what most surprising benefits leaders can experience when they adopt this spirituality in their workplace?
To themselves or in the workplace?
I would say to themselves as well, at the same time for their mission, for the corporate, for the company they are leading.
Well, I think for themselves is definitely a lot of letting go.
Okay.
A lot of letting go, a lot of relaxation in the body.
Okay. They let go. They feel relaxed. They don't feel stressed out by themselves. And since they don't feel stressed out, they don't make others also feel stressed.
Yes.
Okay, this is one thing.
Yes. And for the team, I think we can achieve a lot greater connection between the people, that everybody is on the same page. Because I have dealt with companies where the management team is just all over the place, you know, that everybody has his own agenda. And what can you achieve? I had one founder. She had a very big story behind her brand. She developed it for her mother who was sick with a certain illness, and she developed a product for that illness. But she was traumatized by this situation, and she didn't want to talk about it with her management team, with her marketing team, with anybody, with her clients. And then when we spoke about it, I checked the website and I realized I don't see the story. I don't see the founder. The products are totally not aligned with what she actually created them for. Like everything drifted somewhere completely else. And the whole management team is in disarray because they don't understand what we're doing. She fired 3 marketing teams. And I don't think there was anything wrong with those marketing guys. They just didn't know the story. And then once she worked through the trauma of losing the loved one, of the loved one going through that illness, and made peace, and then she can build her marketing strategy already capitalizing on this story and helping other people of that kind who is facing this illness, helping their families. And actually that product range would sell for 3 times the price, you know, because she drifted more in the children product range. So obviously when people don't know the story, this is what they were buying. And then, you know, the whole product range, the whole website experience, the whole founder's story, and your entire life could change from that. So the spiritual journey of the founder is actually quite crucial for the business. And very many business founders and CEOs, they just say, okay, we've always been doing it this way. We've always been doing it this way. So yeah, if I started a new business, I would do it differently. But here we're doing this way. Why? I think there's a good question to ask. Why are you doing it this way? Because you're used to doing it this way? Like I was used to my, 8 to 7 corporate job. Or you can do something, explore Hayat, right? Like something you love.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good question. And once you figured out that you would do it differently, then the question is, are you going to continue doing this way? Or you're going to go through a transformational process? And this is when, you know, guys like us can help, right? And say, okay, what can you implement right now from your dream? Maybe there are some elements you can now put in place. Maybe you don't have to wait until you sell this business or, you know, retire or whatever. Maybe you don't have to wait. Maybe you can do it right now.
True. I'm going to ask you some questions. They are called rapid fire round.
Oh no.
Quick, fun, and engaging questions. So no need to worry about. Just keep it lively again.
Or just don't ask me about the egg.
Maybe something different.
Oh no.
Okay, you just have to answer me quickly. What's your go-to book on personal development?
Energy codes.
Energy Code. That's a beautiful book, by the way.
Amazing.
I've got it here.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
It's everything from A to Z, isn't it?
Absolutely amazing book. One habit that changed your life.
Breathing.
Breathing changed your life. The breathing technique? So what kind of a technique do you use usually?
Just being conscious on the breathing.
Okay.
I think one very transformational, which I can share right now.
Sure,
Very
please.
really easy one.
Yeah.
When you breathe air, when you breathe in, think that you are breathing prana, the life energy. You just think about it, breathe in, and just feel it's a life energy. And it's just filling you with love and joy and life and, strength.
Right.
And then when you breathe out, relax yourself.
For how long? 5
Well,
minutes?
if you do it once, it's already different. Like you understand it's different,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or I don't know, people are laughing about energy healers, that energy healers charge the water.
Yeah.
But if you charge your water and you think, okay, this water gives me life.
Yeah.
I drink water, I drink life.
True.
How different you feel. It's a pure neuroscience, actually,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah.
Isn't it? Or when you take a shower, you're thinking, I'm washing off all the impurities from this day. Amazing. You
Yeah.
feel completely different.
Absolutely. Very interesting thing I share with you, because I follow Islam. So what Islam teaches us is one thing which we learn from childhood. It's called, in Arabic, the word is ghusl. The ghusl means whatever the whole day, the whole night, whatever I did. But once I go for a shower, the shower is called ghusl, but it has got a specific way of doing it, keeping the intention that I'm cleansing myself with all my sins and everything.
Perfect.
Just making this intention, and once you come out, after that, you feel yourself purified, much more cleaner, just not like taking shower and coming out. So this little intention, which has been taught to us, it brings a big difference. And when you do it by doing the intention, clear intention, and then you feel the difference. And we just normal shower which you take, that's different. It's okay, it's clean, I'm clean, that's fine. But you see, just the intention changes, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
So everything you can charge with that. So when you start drinking water and you have this intention, you bring this life to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just thought to share this
Beautiful.
with you.
Thank you.
So what's your morning routine?
My morning routine. Well, I don't use my phone anymore for the first hour
Okay.
of my morning. And I'm trying to do my body scan meditation, just scanning my body, seeing where it stands and releasing those tensions. And then I go outside without my glasses.
Right.
Very important. Because that kind of starts the cortisol cycle. Because we're supposed to wake up with sunlight.
So that's your morning routine.
Yeah, and then I go for a walk, normally, around the village.
And then you start working after that.
Yes, I start working after that, yeah.
Not 9 to 5.
No, when I want to.
Nice. Okay, what's your evening routine?
Evening routine. Oh, I can't tell you everything.
I'm not going to ask you in between.
I actually go to bed quite early.
Okay.
I'm not saying everyone has to do that, because I know people cannot really do that, but going to bed well before midnight I think it's essential.
Right.
It can last for a while. I know a lot of my former colleagues are going to bed at 1 o'clock or later. But it lasts up until, as long as it lasts. Yeah, but there is a certain capacity of the human body, right? Because the human body does regenerate from sleep, and that sleep has to start before midnight.
Right.
So the hours when the body regenerates, they're actually before midnight.
Before midnight.
Yes.
Nice.
So if you lose all this precious time, then rejuvenation is not going to be there to the extent you wanted, probably. So at least 10:30, 11.
10:30, 11. That's a good time to sleep.
Yeah.
And you're maintaining it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to read a bit in the
Even
evening.
while you're living in Dubai.
Yeah.
It's hard to sleep
hard.
in that time in Dubai, when Dubai is not sleeping 24/7.
I know. But
Now, okay, one word that describes you right now. One word.
content.
Content. I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know why it came to my mind.
Because you are content. And that's very good, actually, you know. It's good word right now because you are content with whatever you are doing right now. Brilliant. What's your favorite way to disconnect and recharge?
I just meditate with like no particular technique. I breathe deeply, I sit straight, breathe very, very deeply, and I focus on the inside, on my inner world.
Very nice.
I have other secrets, but I'm going to sell them. I'm not going to tell them like this.
That's all right. That's absolutely fine. I don't want you to think for so long. Just whatever comes is the first, that's a rapid fire. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a little bit deeper question. So how important is collaboration in your mission with spiritual corporation?
Essential.
It's essential.
Essential. Because why I'm doing it for everyone, right? For everyone who wants it, who needs it, and connects to it.
Right.
And, you know, I often get asked, you know, what if people don't want it? Okay, then it's fine. It's my service, right? So I serve the society, and if the society doesn't need this, that's fine.
But you will keep giving.
I will make it available.
Yeah.
And I will see whether anybody wants it. And if 1 of 1,000 wants it, that's good enough, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be everyone. I'm not going to force people into it, right? I'm just going to give an opportunity to learn. Collaboration is essential. And it's actually a very collaborative chapter. We already collaborate a lot. So our team is an anthropologist. People are very experienced people in culture person. Very experienced project manager with a lot of cultural experience, very spiritual marketing person, and you know, like a philosopher, evangelist, if you will. So it's already a big collaboration to develop this concept. We spoke to a lot of neuroscientists as well. They verified what we are saying. And definitely there are a lot of, there is a big ecosystem of healers, scientists, researchers, positive psychologists who are there for us, who we know closely, and we tried their services ourselves, who we can deploy if needed in addition to our own capacity. And we can see, you know, what is beneficial, because of course, for every person and every company, there is a certain modality which will work, right? Somebody will not like maybe energy healing, but will like kinesiology. Somebody will like the sound healing bed. That one is actually very scientifically proven. Somebody will like the guided meditations. Somebody will like some light constellation or whatever. Somebody will just like maybe some workshops with neuroscientists, who understands and shares our concept, who explains why, how does these practices, how do they affect your brain? Or this, for example, morning and evening routines, how they affect your brain. This is also very important. Or nutritionists, maybe you just want a nutritionist. Like, for example, if we talk about the hiring people is very important, right? To hiring the right people who shares value. Who is doing this? Pretty much nobody. Very few companies are doing this. Properly analyzing whether these people are connected with the values and purpose and the culture, fit in the culture. I know one company in finance, actually, where people are extremely happy. Extremely happy. But they're doing like 20, 30 interviews. Because they're choosing the right people. It's very important for them. Yeah. They never fire them. They choose the right people, you know. And then they treat these people very, very well. They give them everything. You know, all the resources, all the, you know, costs covered nicely so that you can take the right plane to the right place, you need to get the right hotel right next to the venue and whatever. People are super happy there, super productive. They really want to work there. They never leave. Because why would you leave? Right? It's fantastic. So that's spiritual corporation. They're not doing any spiritual work, but it is a spiritual corporation, right? And they And they, for example, maybe they would like a company like this, maybe would like something more pragmatic, right? Like when we're hiring people, we can be thinking of doing disc analysis, like a personality test, right? And somebody will say, okay, no, I'm prepared to go further. Then maybe they want numerologist. I don't know how, but it works, right? If we would be choosing the teams based on the compatibility, at least the psychological match, so many problems wouldn't happen. I had a mediation with my manager in the past, and when we did the DISC personality test, oh my God, like we were on the different sides of the spectrum, and my profile was like a CEO of a startup. Right, so how is it possible? Right, I should never be reporting to this guy. He would never be my manager. They should have fired me in the first place, or not hired that person. Right, so many problems could be avoided. So basically, collaboration with those experts, with the DISC experts, with the neuroscientists, with the psychologists, is very important for us. But also, what is important for us is collaboration with the community, with the companies, with the employees, and the feedback. And to say, okay, you're doing the wrong thing, do it this way. We want more events, we want more presentations, we want a WhatsApp group, we want a website, we want whatever else, we want retreats, we want offsites. So we are happy to do all of those things because we just want to see the format which fits. We can work in an edutainment sort of way, just like providing maybe a bit entertaining content for the offsites and entertaining experiences.
Right.
And then maybe it will leave something behind, some thoughts, some thinking process might start. So collaboration is very important for us.
So how can leaders and companies, they get involved with your community?
Oh, they can just reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Brilliant.
Yeah, at the moment it's all in hand kind of regime, in the manual regime. So yeah, they can just reach me on LinkedIn.
Brilliant. So we just leave your LinkedIn link. So
and I'm writing my little blog there on the spirituality and talking about spiritual corporation, what is beneficial, what practices we're recommending and researching.
Brilliant. So Marina, if you could leave our listeners with one final thought or takeaway, what would it be?
I don't know. Will I be annoying if I leave a very useful wisdom?
No, whatever.
It might be triggering for some. Yeah. If something disturbs you in other people, this is something you're not accepting in yourself.
This is so beautiful, actually.
This changed my life.
Wow.
Completely turned upside down,
Beautiful. So if you start to see in this way, if something you don't like about yourself, you should not like it to do with others, So this will change the whole perspective of dealing with people, and it leads to empathy, Beautiful message. Thank you so much, Marina, for sharing your incredible insights. Make sure to subscribe and share this episode with your friends and family. We will be back soon with more thought-provoking discussions here on the #1 personal development podcast in Dubai, Explore Hayat.